Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And I'm the host, Cynthia Jones, and welcome to the Profitable Business Mindset Summit. And if you're looking for ways to grow your business, your confidence, and design the life, then you're in the right place. Today, we're going to have a fabulous interview with Jennifer. She is the mastermind and powerhouse behind Everyday Boss. Her passion is to help others entrepreneurs identify their big, scary dreams and make them a reality. It starts with mapping out an action plan to focus on the goals and mindsets and then putting them to work. With over 8 years of blogging, 5 years of running the social media and VA agency, Jennifer has built her dream life. She has retired her husband, and she is making a mission to live her best life. Jennifer is a colorful, loving coffee addict with 2 pups and a cat and a whole lot of creative energy, always ready to share. So welcome, Jennifer, to the summit. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us. So we're going to jump right in. I know a lot of people in the audience are just starting off, some are intermediate, and some would just like to know what is behind your drive. How have you built your business and become as successful as you have today?
Well, I kind of fell into being a blogger because when I moved to Texas to get married to my husband, I didn't really have a whole lot to do. Like I quit my job, I left my family, I moved to Texas. So I sort of fell into blogging as something to do, but it filled this creative void that I had. I was one of those kids that grew up not really you asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I'd be like, I'll be a teacher. Like teaching was like sort of the acceptable answer. I'll be a mom. And neither of those 2 things were in the cards for me. And I never really truly knew, like I didn't have this burning desire to be a particular thing. But I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to make a difference, and I knew I needed to find a way to do it creatively. Exactly. And so I started like kind of a craft DIY lifestyle blog to fill my days because like I cleaned the house and then there was nothing to do. And then, that kind of grew over time, and over a couple of years, it became a thing that was making money, and it was like meeting a need in my heart. And then out of that was born my social media management and virtual assistant company, because I was helping other bloggers do the things that they didn't have time for.
Okay.
And then my father-in-law got sick.
Okay.
And, there was kind of this concern he might not make it for very much longer. And my husband was a long haul trucker and gone on the other side of the country most of the time. Like we live in Texas, he'd be in New York or Maine or, in California, thousands of miles away.
Yes.
And I was so worried that something was going to happen to my father-in-law and my husband wasn't going to have an opportunity to say goodbye, because that's kind of where we were at with his health. Now his health has taken a turn. He's doing so much better. He's completely fine. And he's planning for like another 20 or 30 years, which will make it like 120, but whatever. We're cool. I can't imagine my life without him, because my in-laws are actually my neighbors. So we get along quite well, and they love my dogs. So they're the grand puppies, and they're quite happy with that. But, it was like it started something in me where I was like, I don't want my husband gone all the time.
Exactly.
Like, I hated the idea of him being gone, and we looked at other options for work for him, but we live in a really small town in Texas, and the oil industry had left our area. So there wasn't anything for him to do. And I was like, well, what if I grew the business? Like, what if I grew what I'm doing to the point where you could quit your job and retire? And he was like, well, obviously I would like that, but I don't think that's possible. And I was like, dude, watch me. So I'm kind of always been one of those people that thrive on the there's no way you can do this. Like the doubts of other people has always fueled my drive. I love proving people wrong, which is one of the reasons I ended up moving to Texas and marrying my husband. It was because all these people were like, girl, you crazy. And I was like, watch me. And so I did it. And we're almost 10 years in, happier than ever, living, thriving. And and I was like, you know what, I can do this. I'm like, and so I got specific with my goal.
Okay.
And I figured out what I wanted, and then I got really, really specific. I crunched the numbers. I figured out how many more clients I would need to take on, what kind of savings account we would want to have, and I figured it all out. I got our budget down to science, and like so like this is the goal. And once you know what your goal is, the universe comes to bat for you. Because when you know what you want and you get really, really specific and have a reason and a passion behind it, the universe will always come to bat for you. And our plan was, after Christmas of 2017, he would give his notice and stay home. That was our goal. So that was from February, so I gave myself about 10 months.
Okay.
I made it happen in 6.5. He came home in September of 2017, and we made it official in November. Like, we told people, because we're like, let's make sure we, aren't going to murder each other being like 24/7 nonstop. Like, let's just make sure, because our relationship had always been he was here and then gone. Like, I was married, but I always joked about only being like 3/4 married.
Yes.
Most of the time. So I'm like, let's make sure we can do this like long term, and then we'll tell people publicly. And so, it was amazing. It was exactly what we wanted. And he gets to putter on his motorcycle and work on the house and help his parents with their things as they grow older. And he's home and he takes care of me, because I am the type of entrepreneur that hustles. Like, I love the hustle. I love this, like, I thrive on doing things in a little bit of that busyness cycle. But I tend to forget to eat and shower.
Okay.
So, because like I'm so zoned in to what I'm doing that I lose track of time. And so he's like, hey, it's 11 a.m. Did you have breakfast? No, I've only had 17 cups of coffee. Okay, well, maybe you should do something. Right? Like, so he takes care of me, which has been amazing. And he's, gotten invested in the business and seen how we can grow and do things together. And so he, jumped in on some things, and it's been really amazing. But it all boiled down to figuring out what I wanted, what he wanted, what we wanted together, and then doing the work. And that, it's changed for me a little bit over the last couple of years. Like, don't get me wrong, like I said, I love the hustle, I love the challenge and the thrive and the, figuring out how to make it happen. But I've really started to shift more into being in alignment with what I want to do, as opposed to the never-ending hustle. Because you can hustle yourself to death. Like, you could literally hustle yourself into an early grave. But what is the point? If it's not lining up with what you want out of life, then there's no point in pursuing it for 14 hours a day. So, I walk my clients through this process of really getting very specific, really, really crystal clear on what they want out of life, more than just, it's really easy sometimes as entrepreneurs to get caught up in the numbers game. I want 100,000 Instagram followers, or I want to have 10,000 months, every month for a year. I want $1 million business. And those things are nice, and you do need to be specific with your numbers. But that doesn't really influence the type of life you're living. So we talk about, what does your best life look like? The best life things become a little bit of a cliche, but to me it never will be, because I truly am living my best life every day. And what that boils down to is, I know what my best life feels like. So even when the numbers don't align up with, I know what my best life feels like, because I got really specific with what I want and how those things would make me feel. And so I pursue those feelings every single day. So for me, living my best life means that I'm being creative every day, I'm helping other people every day, and I'm inspiring people every day. And so those are the three things that I make a priority to do every single day. I help, I create, and I inspire. In some ways, sometimes it's just one-on-one conversations. Sometimes it's summits like these. Sometimes it's just through Instagram or one-off conversations. But I find a way to pursue those three things every single day. And that right there means that I'm living my best life every day.
Wow. I really hope our audience can understand what you're saying, because you really said some powerful things there, how you did when you spoke about how the universe will begin to line up with you once you decide what it is you want to do. And the last thing is that you're living your best life and how you inspire people. Those are qualities that today sometimes are hard to come by. So
Yeah.
if that's something that you're offering or something that you're giving, I believe you will have a very good attraction with those type of characteristics.
Yeah.
And I will tell you right now, you have inspired me today.
Oh, good. You know, it's really easy to live your best life. Like people think it's like you know you got to be sitting on a boat and like the
Yes.
middle of Como or
Yes.
live, that the only way to live your best life is like the cliche, the expensive hotels and the luxury treatments and all that kind of stuff. And that's not what it boils down to. Your best life is you being the best version of yourself and creating the environment where you thrive the most. So for me, I thrive in my little office with my hand embroidery behind me, talking one-on-one. But it boils down to three things: to pick a goal, to pick the right goal, to pursue living your best life. You have to know what you want. You have to know what your business values are, and you have to know what your personal values are. And when you know those three things, you can pick a goal that aligns with where you want to go. And when you pick that goal and you get to work and you make a decision, you're going to make this happen. The universe has your back. Things start to line up. You put in the effort. I learned a lot about manifestation and creating the life that you want. I've learned a lot of that over the last couple of years, especially in the process of retiring my husband. I had to like get out of my own mindset and where I was stuck and, money blocks and time, like just limitations that from my history, from the way I grew up. Like I grew up the oldest of 6 kids in a family where there was never enough. There was just never enough. And I had these blocks where I just thought that, it wasn't possible because there just wasn't enough money. And so I had to shift my mindset to money is energy. Money is like being created every day. There's no limitations. The only limitations are the ones we place on ourselves.
Wow.
And so, I started making these shifts. And as I made those shifts, things started to line up. Like I had my first $10,000 month within about 6 months of deciding that I was going to retire my husband, which is why I was able to bump up the timeline so much. I went from making, a little bit of money, doing okay, enough to tease me into thinking that this was a possibility, to hold up, like, holy cow. Like I just did this major thing. Okay, so if I can do it once, I can do it again. And I can bump that number up, and I can grow, and I can dream, and I can like bigger things.
Wow. Great information. Great knowledge right there. Yes, if we can dream just a little bit, and like you said, once we hit it, just bump it up and see what will happen. If you believe in yourself, I believe that we have to start believing in ourselves first. Once we believe in ourselves, then everything else can become possible, because a lot of times things are not becoming possible because we don't even believe in ourselves. So then how can we create something if we don't believe we can do it? So yeah,
the belief definitely has to start with yourself. Like you have to believe you're capable of something. And I've seen people talking lately about entrepreneurs who are doing something because it's working for other people, but it's not even what they want to do. And that really spoke to me, because for a long time I just did the thing that I thought could make me money because it made me money, right? That thing. And so over the last year, I've really started making the shift from doing the 12 hours a day for my VA business, because that's where I was at, to managing the VA business so that I can do the thing that actually lights me up, which is Everyday Boss and helping other entrepreneurs. We don't have to get stuck doing just the thing that makes us money. We get to do the thing that makes us money and get to do the things that fuel our souls. I've started making a priority on the weekend to do at least 60 minutes minimum of something that lights me up and fuels me for no other reason than because it lights me up and fuels me. If there's, side benefits, great. But for the most part, it has to be about feeding my soul. Because if I don't fuel myself and feed my own soul, I'm going to run dry. And that's when you start to run into burnout. And so, there's so many factors in being an entrepreneur. You have to balance self-care with, self-consideration and juggle the doubts. And there's like so many factors, and it's impossible to achieve balance. Balance is an illusion. Just
Exactly.
write the word balance like out of your vocabulary. Like don't even talk to me about balance. It's never gonna happen.
Never.
But you
Yes.
do get to choose your own priorities. You do get to pick your goals and
Yes.
pick how you want to pursue things.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have what I call the 3 foundation factors in your business and life established, which is what does your best life look like? And I mean getting super, super specific. Like I want you to timeline your best day ever and where you're living and who you're living with and what bank and like dream big to the point where it's scary, right? We're living that big scary dream. We're achieving those big scary goals.
Yes.
To the point where it's getting scary, like there's no way I could do this. That's when you know you're on track.
Okay.
If you're at the point where you think there's this maybe, but probably not. Maybe, but probably not. That's where you add a 0 to that number and say, okay, that's my big scary goal, right? And so, because if you're not pushing and pursuing and chasing, then the universe is like, all right, well, she's at standstill, so I don't got no work to do. Because you have to do
and I did that not too long ago. I wrote my vision, and like you said, I went big. It said, you know, so that it scares you. And then when I read it, I was like, whoa! I just wow! I got scared inside. I was like, so then I was asking myself, so why are you getting scared? But yeah, I did. I wrote it, and I think the thing that scared me the most was the way that I was living. It's like I didn't believe I could think of it as I wrote it. And it was really, really, I think it was very beautiful the way I was living, how I incorporated my family, my friends, my lifestyle, my businesses, everything. And I was like, wow, if I could do this, I know I would feel fulfilled and happiness by giving to others as well.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a really important factor is like, you know, when we're thinking about our best life and this big scary dream that we have for our lives, it's not just about what we want, but it's what we want to do for others. Like one of my business goals is to start a foundation where I can give grants to other female entrepreneurs for the things they need. They need a laptop, they can apply for a laptop. They need a sewing machine, or they need, you know, money to buy fabric for whatever. Like, I'm able to hand out these $1,000 grants handy, but I have to get to a place to be able to do that, right? And so when you are able to focus on the things you want to do, not just for yourself, but for others, right? Because it's not all about us. It's not about us. And the sooner you can like come to that conclusion and realize, okay, you know, it's like this much about me and like this much about everybody else, you know, we get to enjoy the benefits of living our best life for sure. But where you'll find the most power in identifying what your best life is when you start to figure out how those things make you feel. So if you're helping others, what is the feeling you get from that? Right? So how does that make you feel? You're living in your dream house. What does that feeling mean for you? You have this amount of money in the bank. What does that feel like for you? Because you can achieve those feelings every single day. If having a certain amount of money in the bank gives you financial security or financial freedom, you can be financially free without having that money in the bank. You have to change your mindset and pursue that emotion, that feeling. If having, you know, living your big scary dream and achieving these goals means that you are able to give back to your community, you can give back to your community without having a certain amount of money in the bank. You can go volunteer, you can do, right? Like you can do those things. If having your dream home gives you contentment and makes you feel inspired by a certain space, you can create inspiring spaces in the home you have right now. You can live your best life where you are with what you have when you identify the feelings that come from living that scare, like that big scary dream. All, those feelings are the same from where you are now to where you could potentially be. So when feelings are of potential, you can make those feelings a reality every day, which is what I do. I don't live in $1 million home. I don't have $1 million in the bank. I don't have $1 million business yet. I'm working on it. But I still know what those feelings are. I get financial empowerment and feel in control of our finances and have that financial freedom because I micromanage my money and I know exactly what my budget is and where money's going. I get the feeling of contentment and inspiration for my home by creating a space that I love to be in. And it's wood paneled. It's just paint on wood panel, but it's got the colors and it feels right to me. And so I created a space that inspires me, and I create a marriage that is rock solid by spending time with my husband and doing things he loves. And you know, like, you can create your best life right where you are by identifying what those feelings and emotions are and making them happen every single day. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait to live your best life.
Exactly. And those are some of the things I've been trying to incorporate, because I realized that I was upset a lot. I wasn't happy about things. I wasn't happy with the way my life was going. I wasn't just happy hardly about anything.
Right.
But that's what I started to do. I started to, like you said, I thought about what was my best life. And then I started thinking, so how can I start to incorporate those things now? Do I have to get mad because milk spilled?
Right.
No, I don't.
Right.
I don't have to get mad. Do I have to get mad because no one walked the dog? No, I don't. Just go and walk the dog. So a lot of those things I've taken out, and I realized that lately, as you know, I'm still growing and everything, but as of lately, a lot of things that used to upset me no longer upset me, because I just don't allow it to upset me. I just don't want to waste my energy on feeling angry and upset. And sometimes, most times, it's about things I can't even control.
Right.
So, like, I don't want to spend my time doing that. I'd rather spend my time being happy. I'd rather spend my time looking for ways to grow my business. I'd rather spend my time trying to self-develop myself. Those things are the things I'd rather do than the latter. And so, as you're saying, I'm beginning now to create that feeling and the life almost every day. So
and the crazy cool thing about this is when you start living and viewing every day as a new day of your best life, things start to line up, flow, ideas start to come, like words flow out off of your fingertips into the laptop. Like, it's when you start living your best life and focus on being in alignment and flow with your purpose and destiny, it all just kind of smooths out a little bit, because we have to realize we only have so much to give every day. Like, if you look at it on a number scale, if we got 100 in the morning when we wake up, and we got to get to midnight before we hit empty, and you waste those precious little numbers on angry about silly things, frustrated with people around you. You're spending your energy on things that have no impact on your future, no impact on the quality of the life that you're living, and you're just giving it away. Why? I try to talk to my husband about this a little bit. He's getting there slowly. There's a little bit of osmosis, like he's picking up. Little things really irritate him, and I'm just like very much like a go with the flow, like you know, because I don't let those things impact me negatively, because if I let my brain go there, we are there. There's no coming back. So I just make a choice to not do those things or not focus on those things, because it's so much harder for me to come back. The visual is, it's way easier to pull someone down. Like, if you imagine, you know, someone standing a story above you, it's easier for you to reach up and pull them down to your level than it is for them to pull you up to theirs.
It is.
So you have a choice. You can let the people around you pull you down, or you can ignore them and stay above them on your higher vibration and live a more peaceful and calm life. Like, that's kind of like it's like, I just water off a duck's back. Like, I just don't let it affect me, because once you're there, like, man, it's so hard to come back. So hard.
And I believe too, as we change and as we grow, people around us will begin to change and grow as well, because that expectation that we were giving them before, oh, I know she's going to get mad about this. Oh, I know she's going to react like this. And then when you don't, you choose to do it differently. They're like, oh, so why did she do it that way? And over time, as you continue to do it, then the things that they want to give you, they won't give it to you anymore, because they're not getting what they used to get from that interaction.
When you grow and change, two things will happen. The people around you will grow and change with you, or they're out.
They'll grow and move out.
Like, that's literally, and I experienced it I've
it.
had friends grow and change, and like they're my
Yeah.
biggest cheerleaders and I'm their biggest cheerleaders,
Yeah.
and we are doing amazing things together and like
Yes.
collectively. And I've had friends peace out, like,
Yes.
and literally ghost me, like
Yes.
they're one day gone the next.
Yes. Yes.
And I've had to learn like to let them go, because that
Yes.
says more about who they are than it will ever say about me.
me. Exactly. Wow.
So, if they choose to go, because the
Mhm.
reality is we live in a society where it's really easy to just ghost people and disappear.
Yes. Yes.
It's societally acceptable to
Yes.
just ghost.
Yes.
It's going to happen.
Yes.
So make up your mind now that when the time comes that someone just ghosts you or decides to cut you out of their life, that you're going to look at that as more about them than you.
Exactly.
And you're going to keep on chasing your big scary life and your big scary dreams and
Yes.
living your best life every
Yes.
day, because what their choices are do not affect you unless you let it.
That's it.
And it's
Oh,
such
wow.
a hard lesson to learn.
Mhm.
It was not easy walking through that. I went through it
Yes.
earlier this year, where my best friend just decided she was done. I still don't know why. I probably
Wow.
never will. It was
Oh,
like
wow.
a bad breakup. It was
Wow.
awful. It was like a bad breakup. And I was just like, you know what? I had to reach a point where I decided to just let it go, because it was affecting me on a daily basis.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it wasn't healthy anymore.
Yeah.
And because I was a little obsessive about it, because I was trying to figure out what the heck happened.
Exactly.
And my mom said to me, she's like, Jen, like, this says more about her than it does about you, because you would never do that to her. Exactly. So why are you trying to hang on to a relationship and hang on to a person who would not do for you what you would do for them?
Wow.
I was like, thanks for the wisdom, Mom. Ouch. Ouch. I did not want to hear that. Like, I wanted you to tell me to drive the 4 hours to her house, beat down her door, and punch her in the face. That's what I wanted you to tell me.
Oh,
but mothers, they're gonna tell you what you need to hear. And that's what, and a good coach too will tell you what you need to hear, not what you necessarily want to hear.
Yes. Wow. Well, I think we have covered almost all the questions.
Oh gosh, it's like the whole gamut of, hi, this is Jennifer's life. Here's the things learned in the last, 48 months.
I know. So we just have just two more. So one of them is, what are you grateful for today?
Today?
And why?
Okay. In this very moment, I'm grateful for coffee. Because it was just one of those nights. It's funny because I'm trying to be a more responsible adult and go to bed at a better time, but my brain just doesn't want to shut off until 1 o'clock in the morning. So it is what it is. But coffee, I'm definitely a coffee addict. I am grateful for the roof over my head and the home that I have, even if it's not perfect and Pinterest perfect. I'm blessed to have a home that we can call our own. We don't have a mortgage, so that's a huge win. And I'm really grateful that I get to have opportunities like this to speak with other entrepreneurs and inspire and encourage people to live their best life. I take time every morning to try to write down what I'm grateful for and why. And the list, it's never ending. Like, I could literally go on for hours because I have so much to be grateful for. And I really am truly blessed. And I love to be reminded of that, even when I'm not like doing my gratitude journal. Because, life is what you make of it. And I have a pretty darn good one. I really do.
It is. Wow. Great. And I think that is one of the topics that's resonating throughout this summit, is that people write down or say or somehow do that daily, what they're grateful for. And
gratitude changes everything. And it's, people say it a lot, but like literally it changes. I have an actual example of this, just because we're talking about gratitude. For a number of years, I did a local flea market every month with my handmade stuff. I have a handmade shop. It's the Notary, if you're curious, on Instagram. But I make, bears and ouchie owls and pillows and the hand embroidery stuff. And I was sitting there, and it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the Saturday, and I had watched thousands of people walk by my booth, and not one person had purchased anything. And I was getting annoyed. Because I'm sitting there thinking there's a million things I could be doing at home instead of like wasting my Saturday not making any money. Like I was mad about it. And in all of a sudden, this voice in my head was like, well, maybe you should stop being, a mad jerk and find something to be grateful for. And I was like, man. And that morning I had a fight with my husband, and I got to the market and I was just like mad, and like nothing was going right. And it was just one of them days, and we all have them.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to write a gratitude list. I ripped out a piece of paper and I'm like, okay, and at least one of these things has to be about my husband. Like I have to find at least one, right? So I started writing. I was like, I'm going to write 5 things I'm grateful for. Well, I got to 5 and he wasn't on the list yet. So I kept writing. I got to 10, he wasn't on the list yet. I got to 15, he'd finally made the list. So, but I was like, okay, you know what? This is what I needed. So writing that list, thinking about the things I was grateful for and blessed with, totally changed my attitude. Like totally changed my attitude.
Yes.
And I kid you not, within 15 minutes, I had like a $75 sale. I kid you not. And I was like, gosh darn it, universe. Like, way to like really object lesson that one for me.
So but that energy that you were putting out that wasn't nice, people were walking by it. The minute you put out that energy that says, I'm here, I'm grateful, people started to come towards it. Isn't that something? Isn't that something?
And it's a fun story to tell too. Because it's such a practical example of when we get in our own heads and we stew in our own like yuck, we just, it irradiates and it grows and it's not pretty and people know it. They can be 100 feet away and they're just like, it's like they're blind to what's going on because that energy just is So the gratitude changes everything. Like it literally changes everything. Wow. That's my object lesson for gratitude.
Wow. Great. And our last question, is there anything else that you would like to discuss or share with the audience?
Not real. I mean, we covered a lot.
We did.
Like a lot of my main things. We had a really good conversation.
We did.
As far as what's going on for me is I'm working on a challenge for the month of October. It's going to start the 21st about building momentum for the rest of 2019 to go into 2020 like rocking and rolling before we even hit January and think about our goals. Like we're tackling stuff in October. So we're going to be talking about content. We're going to be talking about social media. We're going to be talking about actually planning out to survive the holidays without like losing our minds and still growing our business. Because why should we pause in our businesses now? Like a lot of people, like November hits, Thanksgiving, and everything gets put on the back burner because they got to deal with family. There's no reason to do that. You just have to plan for it. So we're going to be talking about that, and I'm really excited. I got 4 awesome guest experts coming in, and other than that, I'm just hanging out on Instagram and loving people and trying to inspire and encourage where I can. And I'm working on a course for January, so that'll be exciting. I'm going to be launching my first official course in January. So
okay. Good
and now
stuff.
I have to do it because I made it public. So now, right? Like this is the first time I'm saying this out loud. So now it's public. I always joke that my three-pronged approach to success is pick a thing, decide to do a thing, pick a date, and then tell people. Because you got to show up now because you made it public. So in order to avoid looking like a fool, you got to back up.
Wow, thank you so much, Jennifer. I believe you gave us so much good knowledge, so many actionable steps we can start with. We really do appreciate you taking the time out to be with us. And as I've said before, we're going to have other great experts and speakers coming to the summit, so don't miss out. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.